This is the Spartan Body and Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. The Spartan Body and Mind Podcast is here to help you turn into the best version of you. That means we help guys, floundering guys that are burnt out, overwhelmed, driftless, trying to figure out how to live a life of intentionality. We help you become Spartan men. What does that mean? It means you become a leader. You become a leader of yourself, and you become a leader of every area and aspect of your life, the things that you pour into, your home, your work, your play, etc. Are you a man leading yourself and leading others? If you're not, we want to help you. One way, the quickest way, is to join the free Spartan Body and Mind Facebook group. Join us there. Be encouraged by podcasts like this. Encourage you to subscribe to these podcasts. Make sure you're getting them and you're listening and you're applying them. That's really the key, right? The Facebook group is not only the podcast and other posts and insights. It's also a community of people rowing in that same direction to be encouraged and to be held accountable to. If you are interested in a program that will actually transform you, check out the SpartanProgram.com, and that is a paid program where we take a specific timeline and put you into a plan, put you into a customized program, and give you a community to really row with as you transform yourself from an unfit guy to a Spartan man. I would encourage you to check those things out. Today on the podcast, our topic is paralyzing beliefs. You may have heard about things called limiting beliefs, right? In mindset work, we have these limiting beliefs. And the difference, the thing I want to talk about today, and again, you can characterize all this under limiting beliefs, but I think there may be a difference, and there may be a reason to look at it from this way. When I think of limiting beliefs, I think of the things that put limits on us. They're like horses that are carrying, right, a wagon will have blinders on to keep them so they don't get distracted from the things in their peripheral view. Keeps them focused, laser focused on the things ahead. Limiting beliefs are like a ceiling that you put over yourself to say, well, I can do this, but I can't do that. I can do this, but I can't do that. I've arrived at where I am at work, but I can't get any higher because, and then you make up these excuses, these limiting beliefs. And some of these are because of the way we've been shaped and molded through words and through experiences. Others are just our limiting beliefs. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our abilities, our skills, our abilities to learn and grow, all kinds of things. What I want to talk about is paralyzing beliefs. Paralyzing beliefs not only put a ceiling over us, they change our life. They keep us in a spot of unhealth. A limiting belief might just hold you back from your potential, but a paralyzing belief is now created a scenario for you that is unhealthy. It is crippling. Think about, right? If someone becomes paralyzed, they lose the ability to function completely. If you're paralyzed from the waist down, you lose your ability to walk, to move your legs. If you become paralyzed from the neck down, you lose all mobility of the primary limbs of your body. A paralyzing belief not only stops movement, it radically changes your life because you are living now out of a totally different reality than you were created for. A paralyzing belief leaves you in a condition that stops you from living the vibrant life that you were created for, right? Your vessel, your abilities, your humanistic characteristics were designed to give you the ability to live out. And so that's what I want to talk about today. And the reason is because I hear these kind of paralyzing beliefs often when it comes to people pursuing physical transformation, men trying to pursue a life of intentionality and purpose and meaningfulness. Here's one of the things I hear. Here's an example I've heard, and I think I have empathy for this because I think that I have had this somewhat in my head. It's this. Have you ever heard of this excuse? Have you used this excuse? The excuse that, well, I've always been big. I've always been fat. I've always been overweight. You know, I was a chunky kid. I was a fat kid. I was always kind of picked on and made fun of. I was always picked last. I've always had a problem with my weight. You know what I'm talking about? Those beliefs, and again, they may have truth to them. You may have been a stocky kid. You may have been above average of weight for your childhood. You may have been overweight your entire childhood. You may have always struggled, but here's the reality. What is the reality versus the impact of that belief? I remember as a kid, being a little more chunky, being a little bit more stocky, primarily because both my parents worked. And so, I spent a lot of time at daycares, and when I would come home, it was easy to be fed by the Schwann's Man. I don't know if you know who the Schwann's Man is. They're the delivery company. They'll show up with their big box truck and give you all the frozen food, right? Frozen pizzas and the bagel dogs and the ice cream and so it was easy to grow up on that. It was easy to eat a lot of snacks. It was easy to come home, watch TV, and just eat a lot. Grew up on a farm, and so it was easy to have a lot of bigger portions, a lot of carbohydrate meals. And I think, and again, there's body types and the way different body types burn calories, and not just burn, but even the way we are, right? Ectomorphs, endomorphs, mesomorphs, these body types and the way we just have a proclivity to either be thin or put on muscle and put on mass. And so I was a stockier kid. But there's some reality there, but there's also some experience reality. Like, I also was pale as I am today. I'm still very pale. And so I would sunburn. I mean, if I was out without sunblock for 15 minutes, I would have blisters all along my shoulders. I would blister up on my arms, on the back of my hands. I mean, I would get serious burns. I remember one day, I think I must have been a sophomore, junior in high school. I went out to the lake one day. I think we skipped school. Went out to the lake, didn't wear sunblock, drove the boat. So I think it was kind of cooler. I think I had a wetsuit on. I had my wetsuit pulled down, so I had the shorts on, but my back was exposed probably for 20 minutes. I was out on the water, driving the boat around. I came back in. I laid down in the shade on the beach in some grass. I fell asleep for probably a half an hour. Over that half an hour, the shade became not shade, and the sun bore down, and my feet, I didn't have shoes on, this was barefoot. The top of my shoulders were just completely blistered. Like, my back, I went to the doctor. I remember my mom taking me to the doctor, and I had like second-degree burns all along my back. It was just toast. I remember we went to a Mariner game that night. I was in the Kingdome. If you're a sports fan, you remember the old Kingdome. We were up in the suite, and I was in so much pain. I was laying. They had a cooler for some reason in the suite, and I was laying on that, trying to let the coolness of the cooler cool down my back. My brother, a day later, got upset. He thought I stole like his Garth Brooks tape. Again, tapes. If you're listening and you're younger, you're like, what in the world? A tape measure? You had a Garth Brooks tape measure? No, it was like a record tape, a listening and audio tape. And he thought I stole his Garth Brooks, which obviously it wasn't me because I didn't listen to country music at that time. And he stepped on my foot, and the whole top layer of the foot just went, just peeled right off. So gross. That's me. Now, why do I tell you this long, exasperated story? I would burn easily. So what does that mean? That means I was always wearing a shirt. That's why it was so odd for me not to be wearing a shirt driving that boat, because I burned all the time in very quick time. If you're a little chunky and you wear the shirt in the pool, you're just always embarrassed, right? There's just an embarrassment about, now I'm the shirt boy in the pool and I'm a little chunky. So these two things go together. So, and they're not encouraging, they're not inspiring, they're not creating a positive thought in my mind, they're creating a negative thought in my mind. And so I'm carrying that on. So all of a sudden, these paralyzing beliefs that I'm always going to be fat, and I had, as I I wrestled my senior year of high school, lost a ton of weight. I was in Alaska on a fishing boat the summer between high school and college, and I came back, and when you're pulling in 300 yards of net with your hands, my back was just jacked, and I lost a ton of weight in that. I gained weight my freshman year of high school. I lost a bunch of weight hanging out with bodybuilder friends my sophomore year of high school. It's just like I was like Oprah. And in fact, people would, man, you're like Oprah, man. You just ping ponging back and forth with your weight gain. And but it had this psychological, even though I had lost weight and gotten into pretty good shape a few times in my life, it was always like, I just always felt though that I was out of shape. Even when I was in shape, I had radical body dysmorphia that I was never really in shape. So these are these paralyzing beliefs. What do you have that it feels like it's always been, and it may not have always been, but that's your default thinking. Or maybe it has been the way it's always been, but a lot of it is because you have these paralyzing beliefs that keep you in that predicament, that keep you in that reality. Because, and that may be you. Maybe you have started a new diet, started a new training program, right? 2023, here we go. We're jumping into it. And as soon as you have some failure, what creeps into the back of your head? Those thoughts, those ideas. This is harder for me because I've always been this way. My metabolism doesn't work like everyone else's because I've always been fat. Do you know how many times I've heard from clients that, well, my metabolism's different? No, it's not. It's not. Very, very, very unlikely. In fact, I could probably look at you and tell you if you have some abnormalities when it comes to your metabolism and digestion. You would see those in other ways. You're just overweight. You're just not doing what needs to be done, and you have something going on between your ears that then backs up, right, these false truths when you get off diet and binge, and then it's like, oh, I gained all this weight, and so would anyone else if they did that. But for some reason in our head, because we have these paralyzing beliefs, well, I've always been this way, we allow that failure then to dominate our lives and be our experience. Be careful of paralyzing beliefs. Be careful of what you think. Be careful of the things that you say. And you might be at a spot now, especially if you're in your 30s or older, you probably have some of these beliefs that are so ingrained in you that you don't even realize you say things. Like, you probably say them off the cuff, little jokes. Ask your friends, what are the things that I say about myself, right? Maybe it's about my weight, maybe it's about my looks, maybe it's about my skills, maybe it's about my abilities. What are the things that you kind of say on right? Who knows what that looks like frequently? It's not like it comes out of your mouth every day, but the things that we often, right? I think coworkers, people that are in our lives would be able to call out and go, yeah, you kind of always kind of say X. You always kind of dog yourself when it comes to your skill in this area. And you know why we do that? It's kind of a safety mechanism because no one wants to fail, and we're afraid of failure, so that when we do fail, that's what we do. We go back on these paralyzing beliefs that kind of soften the blow. Well, I told people I wasn't very good at it. I told people that, I've always been chunky, and it's just hard for me because my metabolism is a lot slower than everyone else's. We have these things that soften the blow of our failure, and I want to encourage you. Call those out and change them. Change them, because it's not enough to just stop thinking them and saying them. You have to reinforce it with a different reality. You need to train yourself to say, no, that's not true. Like, my metabolism functions just like everyone else's. I just need to figure out, right? Now, it functions like everyone else's in the macro. In the micro, sure, there could be certain foods, and that's why there's different diets, and different diets work for different people. I was talking to a client the other day. He was a part of the Spartan program. he was talking about he has tried keto and keto just did not work for him. And I had some empathy because keto didn't work for me. The fat content from my body type is way too, like my body rejects that much fat. I function really well on a very low fat diet. I do not need a bunch of fats. I don't get, some people get really brain foggy and they need fat. And fat is a good component, right? Healthy fats are good for your brain, good for, you need some healthy fats in your diet. But not everyone needs as much as everyone, right? Now we're getting into the micro of you specifically. But you still are going to burn, right? There's only so many calories that you need. You eat more than that, you're going to gain weight. You eat less than that, you're going to lose some weight. And so how do we build a diet for you? How do we dial that in? But at the end of the day, you got to stop saying those paralyzing beliefs that are more, again, they're about softening the blow of failure. They're not really about reality. I'm not good at that. This is always why this is. Like, call those out and begin to walk in the freedom of saying, no, I can do this. I am skilled. I do have abilities. I have discipline. I can be consistent. There's nothing more unique about that human and me when it comes to consistency. They breathe the same air. They have the same blood pumping through their body. There's no magical unicorn dust that person sprinkles on them to make them more disciplined, right? They weren't born with an extra set of willpower. You just have to start believing. And here again, be careful. We need to believe in ourselves. Sure, there's belief in self, but it's really a belief in just reality, right? You don't need to believe in yourself to believe that there are calorie numbers that are just scientific, that for your height, weight, body type, that, right, I need to have 2,500 calories. And when I eat 2,800, I'm going to gain a little weight. When I eat 2,200, I'm going to lose a little weight. It's just math. It's just you finding those numbers. Right? It's not about, the problem is not that you've always been fat. It's that you've always made poor decisions when it comes to the foods that you're probably eating a lot of high calorie foods that aren't very sustaining. And once you train your palate for that, it's easy to jump down that road. It's easy then to make decisions that aren't the decisions that are going to lead you to the life that you want. So call out the paralyzing beliefs. Change your beliefs, but also change your actions. Change your actions. But be careful, because those paralyzing beliefs, I hope this helps as we kind of unpack this. Paralyzing beliefs, why do we have them? We have them to soften the blow of failure and to keep us where we are because we're afraid of change. Humans are very afraid of change. We're very anti-change. We are very pro-comfort. We are very pro-comfort and very anti-change. So if you want to become the best version of yourself, start to get comfortable with uncomfortability. Start to ask yourself, what would make me uncomfortable? Getting up early, being disciplined about the gym, being consistent with my nutrition, eating some food that's maybe not quite as stimulating as all the sugar and salt and sauces. Eating for fuel rather than for flavor. Again, it doesn't mean you have to eat bad. I find my food's very flavorful. But is it as enticing and as intoxicating as going out to eat every day and having a variety of different cuisines? No. But you don't need that. It's not good for you. So stop allowing your poor choices to then create a set of beliefs that are false that you live by. So, what are the paralyzing beliefs in your life? What are the paralyzing beliefs that are holding you back, that you're using as excuses to either stay the same or to soften the blow when you do get some motivation to make some changes? What are the paralyzing beliefs that are keeping you back from actually living in the transformation that you desire? There it is. Chew on that. Think on that. Would love to hear your comments. Would love to hear maybe some of the things that you're struggling with so we can, right? You're not alone. Every struggle that you have, someone else shares. And so write a comment. Go into the Facebook group, Spartan Body and Mind, and share what you're chewing on. Share what maybe you think maybe you've struggled before, maybe you've called that out, and maybe you've had success working through a paralyzing belief. Like, let's get a conversation going, because I think this would be really encouraging. I think people will see, wow, there's a lot of people that share that same paralyzing belief, and when there's camaraderie, there can be some forward momentum to say, let's break this together. So encourage you, go to the Facebook group, Spartan Body and Mind. Check out the Spartan program if you are interested in being coached and guided and put in a community of people that are on a deadline. That's the thing about the Spartan program. We have a deadline. Now it's like we are doing this and it's going to get done. You want a program that has results? Boom. Let's get after it. TheSpartanProgram.com. I'm Seth Winterhalter. This is the Spartan Body and Mind podcast. Thanks for tuning in.